Hello everyone, my name's Tiffany. I'm the Tipsy Artist, and today we're painting this super cute little gnome. It says hot cocoa bar, and he's doing a little bit of a peekaboo out of this lovely little mug with hot cocoa, and he's all ready for Christmas. So this is the visual. We're going to have this nearby so you can see this close up. We're going to switch camera views here in just a little bit, but this is what we're painting here today. And then I'm going to go ahead and talk about the tracing process too. So your kit comes with all the supplies that you need, the traceable line art and brushes and paint and all that good stuff. So this is what we get started with. We've got our canvas panel underneath, and then we have our line art, and then we have our tracing paper. So what I do is we just tape up at the top here, just 1, 2, just like that. Keep it simple, minimal, because I still need to be able to lift up during the tracing process and check my work as I go. And I want to make sure that the dull gray side faces up and then the shiny black side faces the canvas. That way it transfers the image over. So when I have worked ahead, so you can see what that looks like now. I also did a lot of reinforcing. Your kit also comes with a permanent marker. So let me bring this a little closer. So you can see the beard there. That is what the graphite looks like, basically like a pencil line. And then I did go ahead and do a lot of hard line in addition to that after I traced. This way it keeps your lines in place and to where they won't be easily covered up, with the paint. You won't lose your work on accident. So this is a great trick for beginners too. All right, so since we have worked ahead and done our trace and basically, let me revisit this. I do have another video just on the tracing part, but basically you're going to take the pencil that comes with your kit and you're just going to make a line. You're just going to draw right over the top, and it's going to transfer everything you see here to the canvas. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and switch camera views here. In my studio, by the way, this is where I paint in our sunroom, so we'll peek into that world. And then let's go ahead and switch here. All right. Get my little stool nearby. Okay. All right, so we have all of our supplies out. Need to make sure you have water nearby. That's the only thing the kit doesn't come with, but do make sure you have that nearby. We have your acrylic paint set here. Your family of brushes. So everything I'm using, I use older brushes, so mine have been a little bit more loved. So I have Mama, and then I have Little Buddy, and then I've got my little bit brush here. You've got your napkins. Of course, here's your pencil and your permanent marker from earlier. This little visual will come in your kit too, so you'll have that to look at close up in addition to being able to see me on the screen here. And then we've got your plate, and I did a little bit of a pre-squirt here with some titanium white and then some Mars black. We've got that loaded up there, ready to go. I also use a lot of my older paint. I have bucketfuls of this stuff since it is long lasting. Little helpful hints here with the paint. When you go to open these up, yours will be brand new. It will have a silver foil line in here. You will have to remove that to allow the paint to just flow out of the tube there. And every time you go to squirt some paint out, you always want to make sure and recap so that the paint stays fresh and it doesn't dry out. So that's very important. So we've got that ready to go. Please keep in mind too that acrylic paint sets up and dries very quickly. So you do always want to make sure that you clean off your brushes very quickly whenever you are done with your painting process. All right. So let's see what to do first. Okay, I think I'm gonna normally do the background first, but today I'm gonna go ahead and do all of this center part here first, because I'm gonna give you the option to paint background or not. It can be really pretty in just white, or it can be that dusty chalkboard look. So either way there. All right, so I'm going to start here with some red. So this is our cadmium red here. I'm gonna go ahead and squirt out a nice big healthy dollop of that, about a quarter size amount. And then your brushes will all be brand new, so they're going to be a little bit stiff. So you will want to go ahead and place them in the water, give them a little touch in the water, then go ahead and dry off, do a little touch down here on our napkin. Okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just push right into that cadmium red. And we're just gonna go ahead and place this into that shape. Now, when you have to do line work here, I'm going to change how I hold the brush. So instead of holding it over to the side parallel to the canvas, which is what I recommend when you're doing a larger area, now we have to do a line work. So I hold it more like a pencil. This gives me a thin line edge. And that helps me do that cutting work into that shape. So we definitely want to cut in around that sweet little heart there. And then just continue taking this all the way around. We're going to try to use this mama brush as much as we can in this larger area. And then I'm just going to feather out these brush strokes a little bit, holding that brush a little bit more over to the side. This gets a little narrow in here, so I'm going to switch to a smaller brush there. This red kind of peeks through in that line work. And then we've also got the same red happening up here in the hat. And the beautiful thing that I mentioned about the permanent marker here is that it bleeds through. So look at that. Isn't that nice? You can still see all that lovely pattern work. And so I can just do a lovely little overpaint right over the top. So cute. Yeah, that's about all we're going to be able to get covered with this bigger brush. So I'm going to scrape out the rest. Let's go ahead and rinse off. Dry off. So let's switch over to little buddy brush. Go ahead and dip into that red here. This is going to fit nicely into this little section. I need a little bit of water. That's going to help that paint become quite a bit more fluid and really flow into the pores of the canvas. And then I'm kind of looking everywhere going, okay, where else is more reds? We have a little bit of red right in here. We'll spot it. And then of course this brush gets to be a little bit big there too, so I'm not going to rinse out. Now let's switch over to a little bit brush here. Go and dip into that red. And we have, let's see here, a little circle. Another little circle here. There we go. And we have little stripes in here. And then we have some fun just right here too. This is kind of every other one, since we'll have some green happening. Then we need to do a little bit of fill in here. It's kind of a tiny little area that we could fit into with a larger brush. And just kind of lightly feather those brush strokes out. All right, now I'm going to make a nice, cute, pink little nose. So I'm going to, well, I've got my brush loaded up with the red. I'm going to add a little bit of white. Mix that in. That's going to make that immediate, beautiful little pink color. I'm going to go ahead and place this into that shade. Gonna spin it round and round there, little half circles to fill in that shade. Squeegee that out. We're gonna do a little touch of just pure white and do a little sweep right over the top. Now we're gonna lighten this up even more. Very, very light pink here. Even lighter. And then we're going to work this into the mittens. And I did do a little bit of an overpaint there. We can touch that up here in a little bit, either with permanent marker or paint. Very nice. Let's go ahead and rinse out. And let's do some gray here. So I'm going to go ahead and take, let's go take our little buddy, big dot with the white, a little touch of the black. Let's mix that together. A lot more white. And a lot more white. I mean, that, man, that black really darkens it up so fast. Just takes a little bit. Add a little bit of water. Make it kind of translucent. And fill all that in. Sweep some white on the top here. About. All right, let's take our little bit brush here and let's make a darker gray now. That'll be easy. Man, the black really is effective very, very quickly. All right, so we have a tiny little, like almost like a stash line here. So we're just gonna kind of take that out. Go down and out. And then we're gonna make these tiny little lines coming through the hose, like little stripes of hair here. All right. Wonderful. Okay, so now let's take some more of that charcoal gray. We're gonna do a little circle around a marshmallow. Another one over here. Purple gray. Outline it. Like that. Fill out here and paint in the center. Sweep that there and here. Now we need a little bit of brown to create this like cream color here. So cadmium orange is in order now. Pea size amount. And a little bit of that black. I still have the white in there. It's okay. It's just going to lighten it up a little bit. Mix all that together, but orange and black make brown. And then I still have that white in there, so it just kind of lightens it up. Rinse out a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab some Cadmium Yellow. A little touch of that. A touch of that light brown we just made, and then I'm going to grab a lot more white. So this is a little bit of that little shadow color in the cream there. We have this nice little cream action happening, so we're going to go ahead and come around our little swirls of whipped cream and a little bit of water. We can go back and forth and grab a little bit more white too, and working that in. Push that into it. Just a little bit of that darker brown, just gonna make a little wave in the cream. Swirls of that, like a little parentheses and parentheses. Right, get that cream going again over here on this side. Put your cream marshmallow in there. Got that brown. This is where the cream kind of folds, basically. Do a little push and curl it around, push and curl it around there. Just gonna go back into that gray, reinforce this little marshmallows there. All right, now we're going to rinse out a little bit here. And we need to have that chocolate flowing over. So we need more brown. So I'm going to get some Cadmium Orange here again. And then we're going to go, we don't want any white this time. We're just going to go black with that orange. So we're going to go ahead and place this in here. Make that easier to flow. All right. Rinse out. All right, I need to do my little base here with cream color. So I'm gonna do a little bit of that cadmium yellow back into that cream we had from before. I forgot to do this earlier. So this is that cream we had earlier. We'd be using this for the whipped cream up top. We're gonna go and place it over the top here. I'm gonna add a lot of water to this so that we can still see our cheetah print way through. Okay, got a little too much water. Oops. Okay. One more time. Oops. Good job. All right. Move that out over the top. All right. Awesome, awesome. We'll let that set up for a moment. Then I'm gonna grab some white here and make a little swish for that reflective light. Swish, kind of just push and then pull, lift off with the light hand. A little one right here. So there. Okay. Now, I still have my little bits of green that I need to work in here. So let's grab some cadmium green. And I always add a little bit of white to the green because it makes it cover better on the canvas. It's not so translucent. I use my little bit brush again, and we're going to do a little push and half circle to each side to fill in these little dots. And then same thing over here. And we have these guys up here. And the one here. Got that one. Okay, I think I got him. Right. Oh, you know what? Didn't stop too soon. I forgot about my little green stripes. Do a little twirl here into the paint. And I can put a little green stripe in there. Just a little here. All right, now we can work some more chocolate in the top. So we have like a little chocolate chip here. So it's like a little cute point. And it gets a little fat down here at the bottom. And a little square sprinkle of chocolate here. There. And then we've got a little sprinkle of chocolate chip here. And here. I'm going to do a little touch of white highlight there. These are going to look like little dashes almost on some of these little shapes. So tiny little highlight. Almost a little tiny squish there. It's gonna give a little bit of like a little bit of a parentheses feel, you know, it's got a little bit of a rounded touch to it when you do it, just a little. It's like make a little tiny comb. That a little switch like that long on that one. Little tiny highlights here. Push into that brown a little bit to make this little shadow here on the glass. And there's a little bit of a shadow down here for the back. Dip into that black, and do a little bit of that ribbing here, the little tiny dashes. Little dashes there. Back into that brown now. We're gonna just go around that little nose. Grab a little water. A little bit of water, a little bit of that brown. We're gonna put this little hat shadow in here. Outline on the hat here. Grabbing a little bit of white. Working that into that brown outline. A soft fade with it. Fold my napkin so a little point here and just pick up that excess water. Right now we need to do now that orange and the brown here. A little white to it to lighten it up just a tad. We're gonna make our little cheetah spots. So they kind of go right here in the center. So I just do a little push. I'm gonna come back in with our black. Here too. Do a little twirl into that black paint. A nice fine point there. And we'll do little touches right over the top for that little cheetah print pattern. Those little black spots. We'll barely touch down there. Touch right over the top there. You can wiggle your brush a little bit. Add some of that nice texture. So I took that black and then I just did that little outline around the edges. All right, so we have our cute little cheetah print in the center. Looking around, make sure that everything done here. All right, so there are some options you can do here for your background. You can do this charcoal black like we have in the image, or if you like the look of the white, you can certainly keep the white and you can just use your mama brush and just do this lovely little back and forth. Just like that. You can even add a little bit of light gray in there. And then when you get up towards the lettering, it's going to show you how add a little bit of water in that white. And so you can kind of go over the top and it's going to bleed through where you can still come back over the top with your permanent marker later and then just go back over that and still have that pretty lettering that you can trace over the top with this permanent marker when this dries. And it is really important to make sure that your paint is set up and dry, because wet paint will kill your permanent marker, will just basically render it useless. So, and then now I'm going to talk about the dark, dusty kind of chalkboard look with that charcoal gray. So, and I'm also going to teach you a way to preserve this up here too with your lettering. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, this is going to be like this. We're just going to go back and forth, making little X's. You can add a little bit of water to help it flow into the canvas a little bit more. And then when you're up here and you want to protect that lettering, add a little bit more water. And take that over the top, and then it will bleed through that too. So I'm going to bring this a little bit closer, but you can see how it is bleeding through. Again, leaving that a little bit lighter in that area just to salvage that lettering for you. If you have great penmanship and you feel really confident with the letters, you can always just paint right over it and then just redo the letters too. That's another option as well. Go ahead and paint in the rest of this background here. Feather that in next to that lettering again. A little bit more opaque as I get into the outer edges away from it. Again, keeping it kind of light right over the lettering so we can still see it. I add a little bit of water and help blend that in. And that little bit of water too, it really helps make it flow into that background. And then once you've got a pretty good base down here, then you can start to kind of really add some nice texture and do this back and forth, those little letter X's over and over and over again. Just a sweep in the sand. Just that white and black and just little letter X's over and over again. Just push, push, push back and forth. And as I get next to this brown, I want more contrast, so I've got a little bit more white. You may have to switch brushes, or you might feel more comfortable switching brushes in this tiny area. I'm able to just hold Mama on like a pencil and get in there, but certainly switch over if you need to. And then kind of feather out those blends and working back into the outside there, but just little tiny, again, like the letter X over and over. Right hand over and over again. Okay. A little water. A little bit of this white. Pick a blue canvas, get that covered. Think very wet. So if yours is completely dry, you can absolutely just use the cheat, beautiful cheat of the permanent marker. Because mine's still wet, I need to go ahead and use my brush. I'm gonna teach you how to paint this in and do a little twirl here into the black. And oh, you know what? That's a white lettering. I forgot. So here's what you can do. that's a couple different options. You can do the black, or you can use like a white paint pen, or you can use a gold paint pen. That's your option here, but I'm gonna go ahead and paint this on. All right, so I've got my white, and I'm gonna do just that line down. It's gonna go right over the top. And it may take another coat too. You just have to see, mine's still pretty wet, so the paint's kind of going into the wetness. It doesn't have a real hard line right over the top. A little bit of a bleed to it. White right over the top. What? Got that little bit, and this is spot with my cream. Oh my goodness, how weird. Right, I'm gonna grab more of my cream color. Work that into there. That's some left. So filled in the cream because I missed that little spot earlier. And then I'm just kind of outlining a little bit more with that gray that comes in over the top. With that little red stripe there. Looking around here, let's get a little touch of white. I'm gonna do a little bit of a little white accent here on the little mittens. All right, so one other thing you can do here too is mine's still so wet, I cannot touch it at all with this permanent marker, but what would be really darling is when this is all set up and dry, then you could take your permanent marker and you can kind of go over that too, make it pop a little bit too. Or you can leave it just the way it is, where it just looks like a little bit of that white chalk on the chalkboard. But yeah, it's looking so cute. Yeah, there's our cute little painting. So I think I'm just all done with the exception of the signature. And so I'm actually going to wait and do that a little bit later. This is still pretty wet. You can do that with your paint pen. Your permanent marker there, which I recommend is a little bit easier, or you can actually paint it all on too. So either way. All right, so we are done with this cute little hot cocoa bar gnome. He is precious. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave the link below for the paint kit that goes with this class. And I just thank y'all so much for joining us here today. Y'all have a beautiful rest of the day. Toodles. And Merry early Christmas.